someone implant a microchip into your hand if you would receive $2,000 a month. A month in return for getting a chip put in your hand. You heard me right. We'll give you universal basic income, basically. 2,000 euros, $2,000 a month if you allow us to put a microchip in your hand. That's exactly what's about to happen as part of the rollout of the central bank digital currencies. That's a carrot for them to rope you into this mess. But a new report just published this week by the Bank for International Settlements explains how our new digital money system is about to work. We've been warning you that this was coming for a long time on this show. Also, we weren't the only ones predicting this. It was predicted in a little book, you might have heard of it, called The Bible, The Mark of the Beast.
But can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
The idea had been by central banks to introduce this, as we said, central bank digital currency. But have you ever seen an article or a video or, whatever description of what it actually looks like? I mean, with central bank paper money, we know what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Bank digital currency, we know, and, we've used it ourselves. We know what it looks like. But what does central bank digital currency look like? You see? So they never talk about that because people won't actually like the looks of it.
Yeah.
Because it apparently looks, and several central banks apparently, as I heard from my sources, have already fully developed the final stage of CBDC. I mean, it comes in stages, initially likely through your mobile phone,
yeah.
But that's only an intermediate step. And the final stage is, it's small, and it's the size of a grain of rice. Now, why is that?
And that grain of rice is your entire wallet, or?
Yes, it's your digital ID,
yeah.
Your wallet, can be your passport, your key. Now, of course, what we found with our debit cards or credit cards is they've already now moved to the system, RFID chips, RFID technology where you just wave the thing, contactless.
Yes.
That is sort of the conditioning us in this direction. That in the future you'll just wave your hand because you've got the microchip implant under your skin, and because and each step there's a rational reason. It's easier just to wave this, isn't it? It's much faster because we always have to wait in the queues as everyone types in their numbers and all that. So just wave it; it's quicker. But the next rationalization would be, but you can lose your card. Somebody can steal your card. And then you're just waving. That's kind of risky. Wouldn't it be nice if you couldn't lose it and nobody could steal it? But it's clear that that's it is almost a step too far for a lot of people because it is a violation of human dignity to actually inject something like that under the skin. So that's where you need some more persuasion.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that this concept of universal basic income has been around for around a century, where everyone should get some kind of citizens, payment. But the billionaire elites have so far not liked that. But since 2015, they've all come out. I mean, all the big billionaires and World Economic Forum have come out, this is a good idea, universal basic income. Well, why suddenly now? Because now we have the technology for the microchip implant. And so in 2017, Bill Gates came out and said that universal basic income is a good idea, but it's too early to introduce it. Now, what was still missing, so we had the technology for the microchip implant, but what was missing was the digital ID hadn't been introduced. Now, this is where this whole COVID agenda had become very useful.
Aujourd'hui, au bout de ça, on parle de puces qu'on pourra s'implanter. Ce sera quand ça?
Certainement dans les 10 années à venir. Et d'abord, on va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après, on pourrait s'imaginer qu'on les implante dans nos cerveaux ou dans notre peau. Et à la fin, peut-être il y a une communication directe entre notre cerveau et le monde digital. Ce que nous voyons, c'est une sorte de fusion du monde physique, digital et biologique.
We have to achieve the SDGs in 10 years. I'm going to talk about that, but with a quick introduction to the Better Than Cash Alliance. We're hosted by the United Nations, and we are an alliance of governments and companies and international organizations that are each committed, each has to commit before they join the alliance to moving away from cash to some form of digital option. We've got to solve this problem. And we have to solve it because we care about achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Did you know that every single government in the world has committed to these? Every single government to agree to these. The government of Norway, the government of Australia, the government of Ethiopia, the government of Rwanda. And the timeline is 10 years from now.
Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed in the basic rules of the game of life. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds. The IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life, after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds, science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm. So after 4 billion years of organic life shaped by natural selection, we are entering the era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design.
Because now it's time for digital ID. Okay, 17 countries have rolled out or passed digital ID laws in the last 3 months.
Can you do me a favor and explain to me what digital ID is first?
It's implemented in stages, though, too. So it's implemented in stages. So digital ID is essentially tying your biometric. The ultimate goal is tying your biometrics to a essentially IP address on maybe, let's say, a blockchain, so that you can have your own social credit score based on the things you say, the things you pay, and the things you do.
Mirror.
Very 1000% Black Mirror. So basically every single Revelations type prophetic show that you've ever watched?
Sure.
That.
Because when I think of digital ID, I have been flying a lot lately, especially with Delta, and it has digital ID on it, and it's awesome because you walk up and you're like, it shows your picture. I TSA pre-check and digital ID. I walk up, don't take my shoes off, my belt off. It scans my thing. They don't need my boarding pass. They don't need my passport. They don't need anything.
Well,
I'm in. I'm like, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, it is awesome. Don't get used to traveling though. Because beyond in this podcast, they're gonna flag your ass here in about 2 years. Yeah, bro. You won't even be able to start your car. Right, so it's that like inability to be able to buy or sell unless your social credit score checks out.
Sure.
So there's 17 countries that have rolled out or passed this. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
When you say social credit score, because there was a Black Mirror episode. Did you watch Black Mirror yet? No. Son of a bit.
Get to your point, because I want to say 17 countries that are doing this now: the EU, the UK, Laos, China, Taiwan, Mexico, Zambia, Canada, Ethiopia, Thailand, Vietnam, Australia, Costa Rica, Switzerland, and Papua New Guinea.
Mexico is trying to, the new president is trying to pass a law saying that you can be jailed for memes or making fun of any political figures or the president of Mexico. You'll be fined up to, I want to say, $20,000
Or 3 years in prison.
If you make a meme.
Somebody just went to jail in the EU just over a meme.
Warning from the IMF, listen up.
You tell them to embrace it?
I'm telling countries, accept reality. Fiat money is moving digital. The developments in crypto bots, unbacked and backed, they're happening with exponential speed. So yeah, you can try to lock your country away from this. Good luck with it. So yes, I'm telling my members, understand it and then decide for yourself how we are going to operate in this world. But do not close your eyes to reality.
The director of the IMF says that cryptocurrency cannot be avoided and you need to come to reality that fiat currency is going digital. BlackRock also gave you a warning saying that digital technology is going to replace traditional finance. How much more evidence do you need to realize altcoin season is not over? There's a narrative going on saying that altcoin season is not gonna happen. The bull run is over. We're entering a bear market. You are far from wrong. What's gonna happen when we have crypto legislation, when Jerome Powell cuts interest rates, once Donald Trump situates the tariff and trade war? Make sure to follow if you want to know what the 1%.
November. But what we know is that we will end up with many more unemployed, and particularly also people in the grey economy, which are not counted for, who lose their jobs. So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increase by the end of the year, because this crisis will be really have found a remedy. So we have to prepare for a more angry world and
free money. I know, it sounds great, but with AI changing jobs, it could be something that we have to think about. And what people are talking about is a universal basic income.
So everyone is entitled to get it. And usually it's at a rate that would allow someone to live at least a basic, decent life.
Maybe to have a bit more time at the pub to spend time with friends. The regular obligation-free payment could provide the safety net we need when AI takes off.
People are going to lose their jobs and we're going to have to find a way through the transition.
If we could have a universal basic income, it's a bet that we can provide meaningful lives to all our citizens.
This guy thinks it's inevitable.
I don't think we're going to have a choice.
And we have a recent example of why we might need it.
Shutting down. Victoria closes all pubs, clubs and gyms, while police set up a new coronavirus task force.
When COVID forced people to stay at home, between 3.6 million and 4 million people were supported by the JobKeeper payment. A further 2.2 million who received some form of welfare essentially had their income doubled by the coronavirus supplement.
It proved that we could do it because we actually did it.
It cost a huge amount, nearly $110 billion over almost 2 years, but it helped keep society going. There have been more than 160 global studies of UBI in recent decades, involving varying amounts of money.
The biggest one is actually Give Directly in Kenya. That's going on for 12 years and it's working with 20,000 Kenyans over 200 villages.
But the research on UBI doesn't convince everyone.
What we're not looking at is the costs and the downsides that would come from spending hundreds of billions of dollars.
Okay, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase is sounding the alarms about the market crash that may be impending thanks to the Trump administration. So what happened? I think it was last week, I'm not sure. Banks who are listed on the stock market, their stocks crashed. It's specific banks that ended up absorbing hundreds of millions of dollars in losses because at least 2 very large companies went bankrupt very recently, thanks to the Trump administration's policies with tariffs and you name it. And as soon as it was announced that the banks had to absorb these losses, the stocks of these banks tanked. Now, JP Morgan Chase called this a cockroach situation. What he means is when you see one cockroach, there's probably a whole lot more you can't see. And what he's referring to is how many companies, the ones that are laying off, the ones that are downsizing because of all of Trump's policies, could very well be on the verge of bankruptcy. And they've got these open lines of credits with their banks. And it's going to be the banks that end up absorbing an amount of debt that they may not be able to survive. So he's sounding the alarms. So there you go.
There are now more unemployed people in the United States than there are jobs available. And I don't think people are taking this as seriously as they should. Because this statistic will not get better. We are currently in an AI boom. Artificial intelligence is getting better, faster, smarter, every single second of every single day. And over the next decade or two, AI will replace millions and millions of Americans' jobs. And when millions and millions of Americans can't find a job, but they still need to provide for their family, universal basic income becomes the only solution. And for universal basic income to effectively work, there needs to be a central bank digital currency. And I know what you're thinking. The United States would never do that. They would never issue a CBDC. You wait around and see. Because in a few years, when people are hurting for a job, they will embrace CBDCs. And the government will be happy to oblige.
Guys, there is something seriously weird going on with the U.S. banking system. As you know, Chase Bank took all the money out of my account, sent it back to me in a check at the wrong address. Luckily, UPS forwarded that mail to my new place, and so I got it just a little late. I tried to recash it into my USAA account. It's a military bank. I used to be in the Army. And USAA now has locked my account. And Charles Schwab, where I have my other account, also blocked my card. I don't know what's going on with the U.S. banking system, but is anybody else going through this?
All right, everyone, more bad news about the government shutdown and the banks. So here is the repo operations. So we're not even fully into the day yet here on the 16th, and look, we have 1.75 billion in treasuries, which again, those are like diamonds. They're pawning their diamonds to get cash, but more importantly, they're pawning their couches, basically mortgage-backed securities, 6.6 billion right now. This is after yesterday. Guys, we've got to end this shutdown. Look what's happening to our banks. Each day that goes by, we are facing a banking crisis. I really need people to start calling on Democratic senators and we just need 5 votes to pass this CR. It's only going to give us till November 21st, but our banks are not in a good shape right now. And we are early morning East Coast, and this is our repo market right now.
What they want to accomplish. And the goals of the banking industry, not just the Federal Reserve System, but the private banks in Germany and England, all over Italy, all over the world, they all work together. They're all central banks, and they're all part of the Communist Manifesto. You know, central banking is one of the major planks of the Communist Manifesto. We talk about America being a capitalistic country, but yet at the same time we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there you have 2 major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System, okay? So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is given me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.